Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend our Zoom session. So we're all university students and we're in the cusp of entering final season. So we thought it might be a good idea to talk about exam stress and how we can rise to the occasion. Um, and so we have two speakers joining us today. We have the brother and sister duo, Reema Patel and Dr. Rikin Patel. And I'll introduce them a little bit later on in this introductory presentation. But first, I'd like to talk about what the Bhakti Yoga Club actually is. So Bhakti Yoga comes from Eastern philosophy, and we're trying to use this to help students become balanced, well-balanced, help them become genuinely happy, and help them become authentic versions of themselves. And in regards to knowledge, I mean, we come to school to obtain knowledge, but I'd argue that some of this knowledge is incomplete because we walk away not really understanding who we actually are. So we're hoping that through the club, we can also help students develop the knowledge about who they actually are and who they are as individuals. And we also are hoping that students can become more thoughtful and mindful and also look inwards. And yoga means to connect in Sanskrit. And as a club, we're trying to help students connect with themselves and also connect with other like-minded individuals. We're on social media. We primarily operate on Instagram. Our main handle is at Bhakti Yoga Club Canada. But if you have friends that attend other universities, we also have clubs at other universities such as Guelph and even in other provinces such as Alberta. So if you have friends that attend those universities, you can refer these accounts to them. So with that out of the way, I'd like to introduce our speakers. So first, I'd like to introduce Reema Patel. So she has over a decade's worth of management consulting experience in the pharmaceutical industry. Reema's clients recognize her as a strategic leader and a trusted advisor, and they usually seek her help out to make important decisions for their business. She has facilitated the development of over 50 strategic plans to set the direction and establish their priorities for top tier pharmaceutical companies such as Bayer, Roche, Sanofi, and other big pharmaceutical giants. Reema's passion for helping clients realize their vision and thrive has led her to become a certified executive coach. Through her global experience of consulting in 9 countries around the world, combined with her uh, extensive experience in building strategy, she offers a unique coaching program to enhance her clients' leadership and business effectiveness. Reema also focuses on group coaching to facilitate meaningful conversations that leads to strengthening team capabilities and performance. Reema holds a master's degree in international management through the Community of European Management Schools, or CEMS, and also holds an honors business administration degree from the Ivy School of Business at Western University. Our second speaker is Dr. Rikin Patel. He's a pediatrician who lives in Toronto, and he's also an assistant professor in pediatrics in the Department of Pediatrics at the University of Toronto. He was actually introduced to the practice of Bhakti Yoga by his mother when he was a child, but he started practicing it more seriously after being inspired um, while he was pursuing his master's studies in health policy and finance at the London School of Economics in 2005. His 14 years of school and residency have allowed him time to experiment and integrate and practically apply the principles of Bhakti Yoga to his life while being immersed in a busy lifestyle. He's also a certified yoga teacher, having completed his training in India in 2019 and has been practicing Shaolin Kung Fu for the past 32 years. He has a particular interest in empowering young motivated leaders through character development based on the ancient wisdom texts such as the Bhagavad Gita. So before I give our speakers the floor, I'd like to just go over Zoom etiquette. So please mute yourself while the speakers are speaking. And we have an anonymous Q&A form that you can use to ask your questions. It's completely anonymous, so we don't know who's asking the questions. But if you'd also like to raise your hand, if you'd also like to speak your question, you can raise your hand using the raise hand feature on Zoom. We expect everyone to use appropriate language, and this is a safe space, so we'd like everyone to be respectful and mindful of their fellow peers and members of the call. So with all of that out of the way, I'd like to let Reema Patel and Dr. Rikin Patel speak.
Thank you. I've never heard our profiles said together at one time. It's kind of interesting. It does make us sound like a bit of a dynamic duo when you put us together. So let me Let me share my screen. So my brother called me on Monday and asked if I could do this talk for you guys on Friday. And I said, okay, what are we talking about? And he said, procrastination. And I said, procrastination. I don't know how I can talk to people about or how to get someone to not be a procrastinator in 1 hour. Because if you're a procrastinator, I think you need a little bit more than an hour to work through that. So we talked it out. We talked it out with the group a little bit, and we came to this conclusion of talking about exam stress and rising to the occasion. So in preparing for this presentation, it kind of brought me back to my university days, and I was thinking, okay, exam time, images that would come up for me was, you know, working in the library, having a study buddy to study with, you know, chewing on candies and studying late at night, coffees, working in my dorm, working in the campus. And I'm like, all of these things you guys don't have right now. I'm like, I sympathize major, you know, with COVID, having to work at home. It's tough. And so I can see how that would add another layer of stress for you guys. Not only just for you with my clients that I work with on a coaching side, they're all hitting a wall right now too. And a lot of the topics that I'm going to talk to you, or the techniques that I'm going to talk to you guys today about, are things that I'm telling my clients almost on a regular basis. So I'll let my brother sort of chime in before we get into the presentation.
Thanks, everyone. It's good to see everybody today. And Abhinav, thanks for the wonderful introduction. We thought that this would be a good topic to hit because not only will the information we discuss be good for exams, but you're also going to be able to take a lot of this information to make changes to change your whole life. And, you know, this is all stuff that can carry on well throughout. So we're looking forward to the discussion and also hearing from all of you also.
All right. So let's just do a quick who's in the room, what's your name, what university are you from, and what are you hoping to gain from today?
Do you want us to type it in the chat, or do you want
unmic? And we don't have, you know, it's not that we have many people to go through, so people can unmic quickly and just say hello and let us know what they're looking for today.
Okay, I can start because I already unmuted myself. My name is Malvika. I graduated university back in 2019 from MRU here in Calgary. I did my BBA with a specific focus in human resources. I know this session is for exam stress, but I think, like you mentioned, it's definitely applicable to even working as a professional where, you know, you're dealing with a lot of things at the same time. So I'm here to learn about some techniques that I can personally use in my work life when I am meeting client deadlines and it's a bit crazy as to what I can apply in that situation.
Nice, thanks.
I'll go next. My name is Abhinav. I'm attending the University of Toronto, Mississauga, and exam season's like 2 weeks away. So I just want to know how to rise to the occasion, I guess.
Anyone else want to unmic?
Hari?
I'll go next. Yeah. My name is Hari. I'm from the University of Calgary. And for me, exam anxiety and anxiety in general is very real. Like even right now, my head feels very, very hot. So hopefully by the end of the hour, I feel a bit more confident going into the next few weeks. And I'll actually just popcorn over to Madhumita.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Madhumita, and I just graduated from York University. What I hope to gain from this session, I think it's similar to what Hari said. Even though like I don't really have anything right now, when like a lot of things start to pile up, like I get really stressed out and anxious, and I just like break down. So hoping that from the session I can learn how to manage my stress better.
Samina?
Hi, my name is Samina. I'm in my 3rd year at University of Waterloo. What I'm hoping to gain from this session is to learn how to better manage my time and to get deadlines for assignments, quizzes, tests, everything done so that I can also, you know, have fun, do my hobbies, get enough sleep and all that.
Great, thank you. And I know Akanksha's at work, and Akanksha goes to Waterloo and she's doing health studies, and she is graduating in a month. And so she's saying, I'm excited to hear some new strategies that I can adopt for my last exam season of undergrad. Great.
Nice. Nice. That's great. Is that everyone then? I think. Nice to hear we've got some people from Waterloo. You know, me and my brother, we grew up in Waterloo. So, and our dad has works at the student health pharmacy, or he owns that pharmacy in the student health center. So yeah, we have a lot of good ties there. Okay.
Yeah, we have a good contingent at Waterloo right now.
Yeah, we do. So I'm just gonna pull up a screen share here and ask you guys to answer the following question. So if you can answer this following question on the whiteboard, what you'll have to do is go where it says, you know, Reema's sharing screen, and right next to it say a note. But what are typical feelings you normally have around exam time, before or during, in one word? If you can type in, using the text box, some words on the whiteboard, I'd just like to get a sense of what we're starting at and hopefully where we're ending. So if you see at the top or maybe at the bottom where it says Reema sharing her screen, it says select options, and then there's a note button, annotate button, sorry, not a note, annotate button that you click on, and then it'll bring up a little bar that says text, and you can type in there if this works. If not, we can just have you share it in the chat box otherwise. Are you guys seeing this? I see some confusing faces.
Yeah, I am not able to do it.
Because it won't allow you to type right away. It'll say, you know, where it says my name, Reema's sharing her screen, and then next to it says select, there should be options. So be green, and then it says select options, and then it says annotate. And if you click on that, that should allow you to have this box show up where it says text, select, draw, stamp, spotlight. All right, let's just throw it into the chat.
Yeah, if you want to just put it you know, some words that come to mind of how you're feeling.
Great, I'm gonna type them in for you. So uncertainty. Nervous.
Unmotivated.
Nice. Yeah.
Fear, nauseous.
Okay. Future marks. Yeah. Yeah. So I just wanted to get an idea or a sense of where we're starting at today in terms of, you know, what we're feeling. And a lot of these, I mean, well, I'd say a good chunk of these we are going to cover off in our talk in terms of how to address some of these things. But what we're hoping, let me just share my screen again. What we're hoping for today is that if you were to apply the techniques and recommendations that my brother and I are giving, we hope you're going to be feeling energized, relaxed, calm, de-stressed, confident, organized, and a little bit more prepared than not having sat through this 1 hour. So hopefully we're going to give you as much value as possible in this next hour. So yeah, let's get right into it. So the topics that I want to cover today is, first, I want to start with some study hacks. These are also productivity hacks, I would even say too, so can be used in your day-to-day jobs. And then the second part we're going to go into is managing feelings of stress and overwhelm. So even throughout the entire, we're going to have also 3 mini exercises for you guys to do. that you can be able to apply right after during prep study time, and to help that feeling of stress and overwhelm. So the first study hack we want to get into is about your workspace. So messy room equals messy mind. I don't know how many of you guys know who Mary Kondo is. If you've seen her show on Netflix, you know, she goes into these crazy pat racker houses and helps them declutter. So you pick up the item and you ask, does it bring me joy? And if it doesn't, you throw it out. And if it does, you keep it. But what I'm trying to highlight here is really, you got to clean your workspace. You got to keep it clean, because a clean space equals a clean mind. So start with cleaning out your space. Make sure whatever when you go down to study, that it's just really your notebook, your laptop, you know, your notepads. It really shouldn't have anything else on your desk. The second thing before we get into study mode is getting organized. So your notes are on, you know, notebooks, laptops, textbooks, whatever tools you're using. Try to get each subject's text, you know, information all together, so that you're not scrambling and wasting time when you sit down to study, and looking for those different pieces of items. And then the third one is, and this one I tell to almost every one of my clients now that works virtually, is dedicated workspace. So what I mean by this is, don't eat, don't surf the net, don't social media at the place you're going to study. Where you study should be only for studying. It should be a way to let your brain know, okay, I'm sitting in this desk or in this spot now, and that means it's study time. So when you start to do other activities in that same space, it's hard to get into study mode and into that flow state. So try to keep one space, whether it's a large table that you have and you keep one seat for the studying seat and one seat to go eat, that's fine. But if you're going to take a break, get up. If you're going to look at your phone and surf, get up. Don't keep the same space for your workspace or for your study space. This also can apply to sleeping. People tend to watch TV from their bed. They surf the net from their bed, you know, go on their phone in bed. Sleeping, your bed should really be a place for your sleep. So if you're having trouble falling asleep, it's probably because you do sometimes other things in bed. So really, when you get into bed, it should be your mind knowing, yep, I'm in bed, it's time to fall asleep. So same concept that works for your desk or going into bed. So that's the first tip. Bro, do you want to add anything in?
No, that's it. I was going to say the sleep space just be for sleeping as best possible.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one you give to kids and, you know, for your pediatric kids that, you know, no TV in the room, because that will kill your sleep. We were just saying how we could do a whole thing around sleep, but we'll save that for another time. So removing distractions is the next one. So I'd like you to use the chat, pull out your phone and go into your settings and let me know what is your average screen time per day. I will share mine as well. My brother will share his as well. Ooh, this week is a bit higher than usual.
Where's the feature again? Which one is it? Oh yeah.
If you go settings and then you'll see screen time, at least on the Apple phone. 4 hours, not bad, 5 hours. Yeah, so I mean, I understand, you know, we do use our phone for things that are work related or study related. I get that. But what I'm trying to call out here is that you have time. There is ways to remove this external distraction. Turn off your notifications if you're studying. It's super important. It's a huge distractor, because as soon as you open up your phone just to check that one email, you get into Instagram, social, you know, Facebook, all those things. So turn off your notifications during exam periods. The second one, and I find this super helpful, is move your apps around on your phone. So you have muscle memory with your thumbs and fingers of just opening your phone and going to the top left corner and opening up your Instagram. move that icon over to the next page, bottom right, middle, or even hide it, tell someone else to move them around. Because as soon as you go on your phone, even though you're only trying to do one thing, your thumb will just go and start going to that same place that you're used to. So I find that once you start to look for that app, you'll remember, oh yeah, I moved it because I don't need to be on it right now. Let me just close my phone and put it away. So make that little challenge of moving your apps around that you're using, you're overusing. And trust me, this one definitely works. My clients love this idea of moving around. And I think my brother has some experience with this one too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I'm a big sports buff, so the TSN app I would look at all the time, and all I did was simply create. You know how you can create like folders for apps that are similar. So I just dropped it in a folder, and just the fact that it was harder to access, I haven't looked at this app in months and months and months. So just even moving an app into a folder where it's more difficult to access reduces your time.
Yeah. And then the other one is turn on your app limits. So I know with the iPhone, I'm not sure how it works with the Android, Google, or Samsung, but you can turn on app limits so that it will notify you, it will disable your ability to get into the app and ask you, do you want to remove your app limit? So it gives you that little gut check of, you know, oh yeah, I did turn this off for a reason. Do I really need to go into it now? So I typically do this on a day-to-day basis in terms of going before bed and in the morning. So I get up at 5 a.m. every morning, but my phone isn't accessible to get into my apps until 7:30. So I've made sure I've had my full morning routine before I'm allowing myself to get caught up in my phone. Same with, it starts at night around 8:30 that I don't allow myself to get into my phone, because being on your devices can impact your sleep. So I find that using the app limits is a great way to avoid getting into apps that you don't need to be getting into. I also would suggest using this for when you're actually doing, like you're studying. Have your app limits on, say you're going to be on it for an hour, put your app limit on for the hour, and then take it off and get on to whatever you need to do. So that's a big one. And if you're really, really brave, I would say get off social media for the 2 weeks that you're preparing, or 3 weeks you're preparing for the exams, and you won't miss anything. You'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Try it if you really want to. Oh, good for you. It will be helpful if you want more time back, because as you can see, there's a lot of time spent on your screens. Any questions around this one? I don't know if I've seen some comments come up, but I haven't been able to read them all.
I'll keep track of comments.
Okay, thanks. So the next tip is around creating a study plan. There's that saying of 1 minute of planning. Oh, there's a hand raised.
I just had a question.
Yeah.
So for some of my courses, my professors actually use social media platforms to like communicate with us. So it's kind of hard not to use my phone sometimes. Like sometimes I'm just on, we use a service called Piazza to talk about the course. So I can't always stay off my phone, and I find that to be kind of unhelpful sometimes. I'm trying to sleep and somebody messages something about like an assignment. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, so I mean, I partly call that an excuse to get on your phone, is to have, like, yes, I understand your teachers communicate in that way, but you can also set times to be checking your phone. So I don't suspect that they require you to check, you know, that they're sending messages or information as often as every hour. So you could dedicate certain times of the day when you know they're going to post, or you know you need to check it, and just say, okay, for the next half an hour, I'm going to be on my screen, and that's okay. And so if you're not on as much, when you allow yourself to be on for 10 minutes and kind of limit yourself on it, it makes it a lot more productive, but also doesn't allow you to get into that habit of falling into the trap of going down the rabbit hole of, you know, checking every notification and then saying, oh, let me check if my teacher posted. Just set a time every day to look at it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the next one is study plan. Yep, so the saying is 1 minute of planning can give you 8 minutes of your life back. For those of you who create a plan, I mean, I know there's some who, I mean, even myself, when I was studying, I used to have this like color-coded weekly, daily planner, listing out all my subjects and what I need to study for how many chapters, what days I need to cover. I don't expect that level of study plan for everyone. Those who will do it will do it. Those who won't, won't. But I will say at least having some kind of plan on a paper or on your laptop will make a difference, right? I don't find weekly planners helpful. I'm more of a daily planner. So I usually create a list of, I cut my paper in half and I say, okay, what must I do today and what's nice to do today? So the must do's is not a long list. It's maybe 3 things that are critical that need to get done. And then the nice to do's can be a longer list of like, once I'm done my must do's, I can hit off some of these nice to do's. So that's something to consider is there's always going to be things that need to be done, but there's always going to be things that are more important. Like if I just get this amount of studying done today, I'll feel good. You know, it's having the rest of the list can just be more bonus, or if you feel like you're ambitious that day, going into the nice to do. The other thing is building your schedule around your biological peak time. So you may be aware of this, that some of you have noticed you're better at studying in the morning versus studying in the evening, or some people are really good at studying at night and doing all-nighters. I was definitely one of the morning people. So what I would say is try to notice your energy levels throughout the day. When do you peak? When are you lower in energy? When do you dip? And think about how can you plan your studying with those energy levels? So for me, I would pick the harder things to do in the morning, and afternoon, I would pick maybe things that I want to spend time reviewing. So that way I'm using my energy appropriately throughout the day. And then the final one, which I'll let my brother talk about because he has a lot of experience in studying. He's there. Right there.
Sorry. The last point is it speaks to Madhumita's point. So Madhumita just made a point. Sometimes I don't make realistic plans and I still struggle with it. And I remember, and I also feel that way. I felt that way, and sometimes I still do, where you kind of just underestimate. You know, one of the pieces of advice I was given by another doctor, this was when I was in residency, and I'd never really thought about it, but it was just regarding like a research project. And it was like we had to write up the paper, and he said, whatever however much time you think it's going to take you, you know, triple it, right? Because that's how much time it'll really take you. And so the advice that I'd like to give everyone else for when they're planning their study, like let's say they have planned out like, okay, we're going to study 3 sections today, and I think it's going to take 3 hours to study these 3 sections. You know, at least double it for now, right? Give yourself 6 hours, right? And then at least you built in some, you know, like I got distracted. I, you know, like I went slower than I typically normally go. I was tired. I took a nap, you know, like all the different things. Again, when you create that kind of buffer, because the number one reason why plans get, you know, kicked off to the curb, or they don't, you know, we no longer follow a plan, is because we're not successful in following the plan, right? So it's really, really important to create just something achievable that you are going to be able to accomplish, because that's your positive reinforcement and your dopamine hit to do it again, right? And so that's just what I wanted to really encourage, is right now, just, you know, really underestimate your ability and just, you know, give yourself more time for the purpose of being successful in the long run. Exactly. So as Ananda was saying, under promise and overachieve, it's really the same way with your study plan as well, is just give your more yourself, because if you have extra time, you know, left over, like let's say you planned 2 hours and it took you 1 hour and 45 minutes, you just gained like 15 minutes of break time, right? That you earned. So yeah, that's the point that I just really wanted to make about that. And it seems like a small thing, but this is really more about the psychology of planning and what happens when you're successful and what happens when you're not successful.
Any questions around study planning that are not anonymous? Okay, we'll keep going. The next one is study music. So I use this still today. Actually, I used to have study mix CDs back in the day that I would listen to. And I really found this to be helpful in reducing my stress as I study, improved my focus. I'd even find that it would sometimes reduce my inner mind chatter when I was doing longer sessions. It's also known to help you get into a flow state. So those times when you feel like minutes have gone by, but it's really been an hour, that is flow state. And study music has been known to help you get into that flow state. So I highly recommend it. YouTube has plenty of options for study music. You can also listen to Om or Krishna flute music. I use that today, like these days as well. If I have a big, deliverable for a client, I turn my music on, I get to my workspace that is only meant for working, and I get down to work, and I do find that helps. So highly recommend. You study music, there should not be any words. It is just, beats in the background or, instrumental type music. So then the next one, and I think this is the last one in the study hack session, is managing your internal distractions. So this is basically all about that managing that inner chatter, that inner critic or that monkey mind that we have. I tend to do two ways, or I even suggest 2 ways in terms of managing this, and that's binaural beats for sure. That is journaling and meditation. So journaling is a good way because one, it helps take those thoughts that are running through your head and putting it down onto paper, and it helps you sort of process through what's stuck, in your mind. So if you are feeling that anxiousness and stress, it's a way to get your thoughts into paper and to hopefully reduce that chatter. And the second way is a meditation. And my brother's going to give us a little bit of an exercise here. I have been doing meditation every morning for at least 20 minutes or so for the last couple of years now. And I can definitely say it reduces my inner mind chatter. It helps me to identify when I'm going into that downward spiral of negative thinking. I'm able to catch myself more. And it does help reduce my stress, get me focused into the present. And so I highly, highly recommend, even if it's just 5 minutes, it will make a significant difference. So the exercise.
So if you can stop sharing your screen because I'll share a screen. And so in terms of, we're gonna do a meditation today. And because this is the Bhakti Yoga Club, we're gonna talk about specifically how we can combine guided meditation with mantra meditation. That's kind of what we're gonna do today. And so what I want everyone to do is just either you can sit in your chair or you can sit on the ground. The key is when we're doing meditation is to have a straight spine, because a straight spine really allows us to focus and maximally focus on our breathing to get the most benefit, right? The whole point of one of the very key points of meditation is slowing down our breathing. A, it increases awareness. B, it'll clear our mind. But the more you slow down your breathing, it activates what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, or the rest and relax nervous system in our body, right? That's another way to think about, the parasympathetic nervous system, is that it rest and relax system, right? And so I want everyone to sit up. And what we're going to do also is we're going to combine it with mantra meditation. You're going to hear something in the background. Now, mantra meditation, these mantras are very, very powerful because mantra means that which frees the mind. And these sounds that you're going to hear, think of it as a sacred sound formula. And the reason why they're so powerful is because they've been passed down from teacher to student for many, many generations, thousands of years, right? And so you're going to close your eyes and you're going to make sure your feet are on the ground. And you're going to put your hands in your lap or wherever is comfortable for you. If you're sitting on the ground, just have them resting over your knees. You can sit cross-legged if it's easier, but just again, make sure your spine is straight. And we're going to breathe in for 4 seconds. We're going to hold. We're going to breathe out for 6 seconds. So I'm just going to take you through that. So breathe in. And out. Breathing in. And out. Breathing in. And so we're going to keep going at this pace. And you're going to keep going on your own, and I'm going to have something playing in the background. So keep going, breathe in.
Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare.
And breathing in, and your last exhale out. And open your eyes. So with mantra meditation, the reason why it's even more powerful than just regular silent meditation is because the sound, in fact, not only has an impact on our mind, and when I mean on our mind, we know that sound has, helps activate certain frequencies in our brain to help us, get into a relaxed state to study. But this is in fact these sounds are so powerful that they're in fact hitting right into our very being, our soul, our spirit. And so this mantra that we specifically were hearing, it specifically means, we're calling out and we're asking to be the divine to empower us to be instruments of service. And so, we might be thinking that we're just studying, but now by just bringing in that attitude and that intention, we change our whole purpose, and we're completely empowered from a different point of view to go back to what we normally do as regular activities. So that was our little meditation exercise. So we're happy to share the title. It's a really good one. It's one of my favorites in particularly. And yeah, please give this a try as a study break, we just did it for 4 minutes. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So any questions or thoughts around the study hacks that we shared with you? Because then we're going to move into how to manage sort of that overwhelmed stress feeling.
We have a few questions from the anonymous question and answers form. So the first question is, what is your advice on managing our screen time and our dependence on being on our phone given the current circumstances in the world?
Yeah, so I mean, the things that I mentioned there in terms of the notifications and moving the apps, that helps to reduce your want to go in and just that muscle memory. The other thing, I mean, it really is about just putting your phone away sometimes. And I know that can be really tough right now because you want to feel connected. You're not even seeing your friends. So you're feeling disconnected in a lot of ways, and the phone kind of connects you back to them. So it is really tough. But I guess some of the techniques we're going to talk about in this next half, I would say are much better ways to spend your time than, connecting on the phone. But I hear you in terms of it's a tough thing to do. Even just setting a goal of reducing it by 20 minutes, your average daily time, or even a half an hour, and starting small is already a win in itself.
Okay. There's another question. Is morning meditation better than afternoon, evening, or nighttime meditation? Why is this the case?
So I'll answer part, and I think my brother will have an answer to this too. So I would say your morning routine sets the tone of your entire day. So if you can start your morning with a meditation, it really will help manage the stress, anxiety, and things that are happening throughout the day. It doesn't mean to say that it won't be as effective in the afternoon or evening. It's just when you wake up, many of you probably grab your phone first thing. And if you could instead try and do a meditation, or just turn on your YouTube and do a meditation before letting in the world, that can at least kind of bring that sense of calm and peace. So the reason why I don't allow myself to get onto my phone till 7:30 and having that 2.5 hours is really so that I can set my day in a calm, relaxed type of way versus, checking my phone, seeing an email from a client and getting upset or annoyed or frustrated. And then that's the tone I'm setting for the entire day. I do it at night as well, because sometimes it helps me fall asleep. So it is helpful at night if you do struggle with sleep. And afternoon, it can be like a pick-me-up when you're kind of in it. So all the times are good. I would just say I prefer the morning because it helps me with my entire day. Rick, do you have anything to say about that? Yeah.
The question was around, can you just, I couldn't hear Abhinav that well when he was saying that.
I'll say it again. So the question was, is morning meditation better than afternoon, evening, or nighttime meditation? Why is this the case?
Oh, yeah, I can add to this. So, for those of you that have ever been up early in the morning, maybe you felt a certain, just calmness or peacefulness about just that very time of the day. And, this is actually discussed in the Vedic text where Bhakti comes from, that our day is divided into 3 parts. There's a time of like goodness. There's a time of like passion where we work, and there's a time of kind of darkness and dullness. And that's where, you know, so in kind of the goodness time, which is the early morning hours, it's specifically shown that it's infused with an energy of clarity and peacefulness. So this is in fact the best time for us to meditate, because the environment is by nature inherently more conducive for this practice, more so than the afternoon or the evening. It's not to say that you can't do it, but you basically, like, if you're looking for the most bang for your buck, which most people are today, if you want to maximize and get the most out of the small amount of time you give to it, the morning time will be that time, because nature is designed that clarity is invested in those morning hours between pretty much 4 and 7 a.m.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's move into managing your stress and overwhelm. So hitting that wall, and how do you manage this? I'm going to jump right in. So scheduling breaks. 6 minutes of a break can increase your productivity by 40%. So I know for some of the keeners may want to study all day as long as they can and not break. I was one of those people. But just getting out of your chair, getting outside, 6 minutes, fresh air, it can bring back your productivity or your learning ability potentially by 40%. So it's okay to take break, and I highly encourage you to take more breaks. I've been telling my clients as well, like right now with people on back-to-back Zoom calls all day, they're sitting. It's really necessary just from a mental health perspective to get yourself up from your chair and taking a break. So schedule your breaks, like plan to take your breaks in your schedule that you're creating. And there's a theory that there's a theory called the Pomodoro technique. You may have heard of it. It's typically used for writers. Writers tend to use this, that you study for 45 minutes or you write for 45 minutes and then you take a break for 15. There are even apps for this. So I used to use one called Be Focused on the iPhone, where it actually just is a timer for you that goes on for 40 minutes, rings at 50 at that point, you know, goes on again for 15 minutes for your break, rings again. So it helps just allow you to go to follow that technique of 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off, or you can set it to an hour on, 10 minutes off. But it's really, really critical that you schedule in your breaks through the day and not try to push it and say, you know what, I'm going to study for the next 3 hours and then I'll take a break for an hour. It's better to do shorter spans with short breaks than long spans with longer breaks. And then walks outside. So I can't stress enough how important it is right now to get outside. The weather's getting better. We're into spring. It really can help reduce your stress. It can increase your vitamin D levels, which actually helps improve your brain function. And it actually helps also improve your concentration. So I highly recommend once a day that you're getting outside, even if it's only for 10 minutes, even if it's just a few minutes in your backyard or once around the block, try to get outside. It's so, so important. And if you really want to ground yourself and reduce that stress, hug a tree. You may be embarrassed to do so. I know my friends are when I start to hug a tree, but I highly recommend. It really brings your stress and anxiety levels down when you're hugging a tree. So that's a picture of me. My friends were all standing and watching me hug the tree, but eventually they joined in and hugged the tree as well. But it can be very helpful. Bro, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say that, you know, it speaks to also the point, maybe people have heard of this concept of earthing, but the concept is that if we can really either put our hands, our feet, or some portion of our body on the earth, we in fact draw in the energy, you know, the positive energy of the earth into ourselves. And there's been so much research on positive, like hormones, chemicals, endorphins, everything being released in our body to uplift our mood, and not only to uplift our mood, but also to ground us just by being in touch with the earth. So, I mean, you see that picture there, that's in fact Reema hugging a tree. And so her body's in contact with nature, right? And so we really want to try to promote, I mean, fine if your shoes are on, but if you can take your shoes off, walk outside barefoot, right? Have some part of your body touch the earth, because there's a power in just that simple activity. And I've experienced it like tremendous effects for myself.
All right, stretching break. So why is this important? A lot of the time when we study, we kind of tense up in our shoulder areas. We go, our shoulders come up, our bodies go in because we're trying we're collecting all our stress. So stress creates a lot of muscle tightness. And even if you can use that 6 minutes to get up off your chair and do a couple stretches to relieve your body stress, it would be super helpful. There was a study that I came across, UCLA study, saying taking a break while you study to move around and stress is the best way to get the most out of your studying. So my brother's going to do a quick 3-minute instead of 5-minute, just so we keep moving. Stretching exercise, a few things that you could do at your seat or standing from your seat.
Okay, so you can just take off the share screen and so I can see everybody. So everyone, you're just gonna follow me. This is gonna be 3 minutes, which you can just quickly apply to yourself. While you're sitting in your chair, you're just gonna take your hand and gently just stretch the left side of your neck. So our neck, there's a lot of tension in our neck. So over to the other side. So stretching your neck is a really good one because we're usually holding it in the same place. All right, so now we're gonna stand up and I want everyone to just circle their hands. So now what we're doing is we're opening up our chest. So I want everyone to just get up off their feet. We're moving a little bit and then go backwards. All right. So the next exercise, so again, we're going to do this really quick. The next exercise we're going to do is we're going to do some hip openers. So I want everyone to kind of squat down and they're just going to push their knees out with their elbows, just like this, right? So again, you're opening up your hips and you're just trying to, we carry a lot of stress in our hips. And this is a really easy one just to kind of open things up. So this is a good one to hold. You can hold it for as long as you want. Now the next exercise, so as you can see, we're working our way down. So now I want everyone to just come to the ground. I'm going to show you one, but we're going to do what's called child pose. So we're going to come back. It's going to look like this, but we're going to come all the way back and we're going to stretch forward. So you're going to stretch out with your hands straight. And you're going to feel that stretch in your shoulders, in your chest, all along your side. And from here, you're going to go all the way to the left and you're going to stretch that right side out. And now you're going to go all the way to the left side and you're going to do another deep stretch. So this is a really good to open up not only our chest, but our side. It also starts to work the hips too. And now for the last stretch, we're going to do what's called, for those of you that have done any yoga before and have done pigeon, we're going to go ahead and do pigeon. So pigeon is where you're going to bring your legs, your one leg straight and one leg behind you. And from here, again, trying to be gentle on your knee. If you want to bring it in, to be gentle. If you want more of a stretch, you bring it out and you're going to slowly walk your hands forward and you should feel a nice, deep, sweet stretch in that right butt. So this is a great hip opener, and the reason why we're doing this, I'm choosing hip openers, is because we carry a lot of stress here. And from here, we're going to switch to the left side. So you're going to bring your left foot forward and you're going to stretch it out.
Hold right, PICU, all clear. Hold right, PICU, all clear. Hold right, PICU, all
All right. And we are done our stretching session.
Thank you. Okay, so exercise, that gets into exercise. So I know many of you during exam time will think, there's no time to do exercise, but actually I would say it's the most important time to be exercising because of what it can do for your energy levels, because it can give you better sleep, and because it can improve your cognitive function. So I'm not asking you guys to do 1 hour sessions. Really pull up a YouTube video that's 10 minutes on high intensity interval training, and it will be just as beneficial as 1 hour. You may not believe me, but for months I did a course that was just 10 minutes every day, and that alone, and I was still able to lose a couple pounds and tone up my stomach area. So if you can do anything, I would say at least 10 minutes high interval training, and that should be enough to get you through the entire day. And I would recommend, if you can, do your workouts in the morning, because they actually benefit you more from a sleep perspective and from an energy perspective through your day. So I know some people tend to do it in the evenings. If you can switch it to the mornings, it is actually more helpful for your entire day, and then even for your sleep. Okay, and then the next one is about getting good sleep. So as we were saying, this could be a topic on its own of good sleep practices and how to sleep. And I've read a couple books on sleeping, but lack of sleep can cut your learning ability to up to 40%. So I know during exam time, we tend to cram, we tend to have some late nights of studying. I would highly recommend, I mean, I know this is hard. I don't expect you guys to change your habits and go to bed earlier, but I would also encourage you to consider the stat of how it does cut your learning ability, and try to get some good sleep. So sleep is really important because it helps you consolidate your short-term memories into long-term memories. And one of the things that's really important about sleep is that it's more important to get consistent sleep time than it is the total hour sleep. So if you're going to bed every day, let's say, and I don't encourage this time, but 10 or 11 o'clock, and then getting up however late you are, let's just say you want 6 hours, try to do 6 hours at the same time every night. So ideally you're doing 7 to 8 hours, but if you're not, try to have that similar time at going to bed and waking up at the same time versus different times. And then my brother is the pro in naps. I was terrible. I've never been a good napper. I would usually try to go for a nap and set my alarm for 20 minutes, and I'd be starting to fall asleep at minute 19. So it would be useless for me. I'm a terrible napper. So I don't do it because I just try to make the best use of my energy levels. But my brother can speak to this napping, because he can sleep in like a minute, and I'll look over and he's out.
So naps, for those of us studying, we should use them. Never feel bad about napping. There's a whole science behind napping, and this is just a table here to capture. I think people sometimes wonder, how long of a nap should I take to be most productive? Ideally, you want your nap to be 20 minutes or less, right? And so you can see here, 2 to 5 minutes, you decrease your sleepiness and you improve your cognitive functioning a little bit. You get a mini nap for 10 minutes. You start to now improve not only your physical health, your mental health, but you decrease your fatigue. 20 minutes is really your sweet spot, really between 20 and at the most, I think the specific number is 22 or 23 minutes, but that improves your alertness, energy, memory. I have experimented with all of these time intervals. And I can definitely say, between 20 and 25 minutes is really good, because as soon as you start to cross the 30-minute mark, maybe some of you have taken a nap and you took it and it was a little bit too long, and you woke up feeling really, really tired. So this is actually because, it's another top, a lot of detail in itself to get in the stages of sleep of non-REM versus REM sleep. But it's because we're starting to enter a phase of sleep that's much deeper sleep, that different functions are happening. But that's where you start to feel groggy and foggy, right? And ideally, if you're gonna like go for a 30-minute nap or more, just hit the home run and go for 90 minutes, right? So you either go big in this time is like 90 minutes, or just stick to something 20 minutes or less, and you will get all the benefit you're looking for. So anybody have any questions around napping and the science of naps? It's a really good thing to do if you can do it. You know, obviously, like some of the things that we're going to show you are things you can do in place of naps, but if you really need it, for me, because I don't drink any caffeine, my naps is what I'd use as my caffeine throughout undergrad, medical school, and residency, and they've served me well.
How do I sleep fast? Like if I tell myself I'm going to take a nap, I can't do that on command. So how do I do that? Because when I end up taking naps, it's when I'm really tired, and when I wake up, I feel like I'm in another century. Like I feel like I shouldn't have napped.
Right. So one of the things, Abhinav, that's maybe happening is you got to really monitor the length of time of your nap. Because if you feel like you're in another century, then it's probably because it's been too long. I will definitely say that if you keep it around, you know, the 15 to, 20-minute mark, you will feel like you'll have a ton more energy and you'll feel it immediately, right? So in terms of like doing it, like how to do it fast, two very quick like tips that I'll give that will help. One, start to use earplugs when you sleep. Any small noise will really, really make it hard to fall asleep. Two, the environment that you're in, make it very, very dark, right? Like dark that, I mean, if it's possible, dark that you shouldn't even be able to see the hand in front of you, right? The darker, the room areas, earplugs. And the third thing, I know again, like this might seem like a strange thing, but a cool environment really helps, for just falling asleep in general. One of the ways I kind of do that, if I have just my regular clothes on because I'm, because it's during the day, is I'll take off my socks. So having bare feet also really helped me fall asleep quickly. So these three things, try them. No socks, earplugs, dark environment, and I'm sure it'll help even a little bit. Anything to add, Reema?
No, I would say if you're not a napper, it's just some of us, we just can't do it. I'd like to, but it just isn't for me. But yeah, those techniques are all good that my brother mentioned. They're actually all techniques even just for going to sleep and having trouble sleeping. So, for the darkness, I would say you can also wear a sleep mask to help with that too. All right, breathing. So this one's probably one of the most key ones that I'm suggesting to do. And that's because big part of your stress and overwhelm is thinking about the future. So your mind is living in the future. You're thinking about, oh, if I don't get a good grade, I don't get, the job that I want, my parents are going to be upset, whatever it may be, but you're thinking your mind is living in the future. And breathing is the best solution to bringing yourself back to the present. So taking a few minutes, like when you catch yourself being stressed, being overwhelmed, hearing that monkey mind go astray, you want to try and say, okay, let me just take a few minutes and do a quick breathing exercise. So my brother's going to show you another breathing exercise or another exercise on breathing for just a few minutes.
All right, everyone, our practical breathing exercise, we're going to do two. The first we're going to do is Nadi Shodhana. So that's called alternate nostril breathing. And the reason why this breathing technique is so powerful is because not only does it help you increase concentration and focus, but it brings both sides of the brain, both hemispheres of the brain in balance, right? When we breathe in through our left nostril, we relax. And when we breathe in through our right nostril, we energize. So breathing in through both individually will help create that balance. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our two fingers, our peace fingers, we call them, make the peace sign. We're going to take them, we're going to put them in between our eyebrows, right on our forehead. And we're going to have our thumb and our two fingers. First, we're going to close the right side of the nostril. We're going to open the left, and we're going to take a deep breath in. We're going to close the left nostril. We're going to open the right. We're going to breathe out through the right. Breathing in through the right. Close right, open left, breathe out. Breathing in through the left. Close left, open right. Breathe in through the right. Close right, open left. In through the left. Close left, open right. Breathing in. Close right, open left. And just go a couple more on your own. And just open your eyes. So again, when we're talking about just even falling asleep, if you want to try to fall asleep faster, again, you should feel a sense of just feeling calm and more balanced. And if you wanted to do this even before sleep, it's a good time to try this one out specifically. The next exercise we're going to do very quickly, it's called Brummery or bumblebee breathing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our two thumbs, we're going to close our ears, and then we're going to take our palms and we're going to close our eyes. And so literally what we're doing here is we're closing our ears. You can just watch me for a second, but we're closing our ears and we're closing our eyes. And when we take a breathe in, we're going to hum on the way out, right? And so the sound only has one place to stay, and that's in our skull. And this is literally a way to give our brain, our brain a massage, because the vibration of the sound basically massages our brain. All right, so we're going to give that a try. We're going to close our ears. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to take a deep breath in and just follow me. You're going to hum on the way out. Breathe in. And again. And one more. And open your eyes. So again, that's called Brummery or bumblebee breath, because you literally, the hum feels like a bumblebee buzzing. And those are really two really great breathing techniques that you can use really at any time of your day. I would specifically recommend them as a study break because they actually, in fact, help you focus and concentrate. They'll relax you, decrease the anxiety. And again, you know, one of the big themes we were talking about is feeling more grounded and feeling more centered. And these are both activities for that.
Okay, and then this is, I think, the last slide, and also a more courageous technique is cold showers. So you may think that this is not for you, but I would say it's not about taking a cold shower the entire shower. It's about taking a cold 1-minute shower at the end of your shower. So since I've been doing this for 2 years now, I haven't gotten a cold, I haven't gotten the flu, and typically I always get sick every year. But it does help build your immune system. It does increase your endorphins. And the biggest thing I say to my clients is it builds your mental resilience. So if you can stand there under the freezing cold, so I don't mean turn it a little bit cold, I mean turn it all the way down to the lowest cold setting possible, and leaving, you know, letting the water hit your head, letting it hit your back, you know, turning around, letting it hit all parts of your body. I know it sounds crazy, but it really, really helps from a mental resilience perspective. We feel like if I can do this, if I can go through a minute of breathing, slowly breathing through this process, I can face anything in the day. And so you feel really refreshed after. You may hate it at first and you may, you know, close up and just want it to be over. But I would just say, take slow breaths, tell yourself you're not going to die from this. It's all okay, and work yourself through it. But I really, really recommend this one. I know it's not something for everyone, but I found such benefits by doing this for a minute at the end of my shower every day.
Yeah, we have some comments. Samina says, I love taking cold showers in the spring and summertime. Hari is like, yes, I hate it, but when I do it, I feel like a badass. Abhinav is like, I tried a cold shower a couple times this week. I feel warmer. So you should know, I mean, there's so many benefits that you know, we can get into about cold showers, but it really, again, in addition to mental resilience, you know, it's because you're breaking your mind, you're conquering, you know, and that kind of sense of conquering empowers you, but it really is beneficial for your immune system. It really builds up, and there's a lot of things that get released that help strengthen your immune system.
I have a question, I guess directed at Reema, because I'm noticing your beautiful, lush, thick hair. So with the cold shower, is it like, you know, just on your body? Because, you know, I shy away from showers just because we get sick easily with our hair and everything. So how do you handle that?
So it's actually supposed to be really good for hair and having a cold shower. It's actually good because it stimulates the hair follicles. And so it's actually very, very good to have cold showers for your hair. So there's actually beauty, like it actually helps you lose weight. Like I didn't go into the other things, but it helps you lose weight because it helps use your, you know, break down or speed up your metabolism. But yeah, it's okay. Obviously, you do want to dry yourself off and blow dry your hair after, because it is very cold in your hair or in your head. But yeah, no, it's good for your hair.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? This is the last slide now. So if you guys,
There's an anonymous question. It says, you spoke about managing our internal distractions. I feel like there's been an increase of uncertainty, anxiety, stress since the pandemic, and I feel sometimes journaling and meditation isn't as helpful for me. Can you give some insights on what I can do to ensure the effectiveness of these strategies and or add additional strategies?
yeah, it's definitely like you're not alone. Whoever's question this was, this is everybody. Like I've had 3 clients in 1 week crying, male included, crying on the phone about hitting a wall and this being too much. It's been gray lately. It's been, you know, cold, so you don't want to get out there. It's finally warming up, but this is something everyone's experiencing. And if there was one thing I could probably say of all the things, and I know we didn't go through it, but it's all part of the things that I talk about, is having a really good morning routine. Like the first hour, 2 hours of your day, if you can set up your day in a sense, like my morning routine is I get up, I do a 20-minute meditation, I go straight to my yoga mat and I do a half an hour yoga, I sit down and do a breathing exercise, and then I'm, you know, make my tea or have a coffee, and then I'll sit on my chair and do a little bit of reading. So it's no distractions. I haven't checked my phone yet. I don't know, you know, what's going to hit me at, you know, in the beginning of the day, because no one needs my attention at 5 a.m. There's nothing that important that I need to check at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. that needs to be addressed. So, you know, with the meditation not working, I would say try doing it first thing in the morning. Try setting your days up in a way that will set your tone for the rest of your day.
And with meditation, do you mean mantra meditation?
So I don't do as much mantra meditation. I do chanting and I do like I'll go for a walk. Actually, that's another thing I'll do in the morning too, is that I'll take my, I'll do go out and go for a walk and chant. But I would say I do more guided meditations on YouTube, and I can suggest some if you guys are interested. And there are some around anxiety. There are some about clearing your mind. So I actually start with those. And then usually on my walk, I'll take and chant Hare Krishna.
So
Thank you.
I will say that, you know, for that person who asked the question, something that's really, really important here. I mean, having, we can sometimes have the best routines. We can be doing all the right things, the meditation, the journaling, everything we mentioned you could be doing, and you could still sometimes feel overwhelmed, or that you're not, you're not kind of feeling the way you'd want to feel. And that's where I really feel like who have you identified in your life as people who are really, grounded, thriving, and, who you feel inspired by, because time with them or any sort of interaction with them will rub off on you and immediately, have an impact on your mood, no matter where you are. So we can sometimes have the best practices, but I feel like, really identifying who in our life, who our, mentors are, the people that inspire us, the people that have the qualities we want, having any sort of interaction with them. And sometimes it's not always going to be, maybe we won't always have a chance to call them, but if we have some way to, listen to their voice, or to imbibe something that they taught us, or to, interact with them in some type of way, sound is a very powerful way to interact with, others. And so I'm really just encouraging that practice of surrounding ourselves around the people that are inspiring us, that are our mentors, when, sometimes our practices may fall a little bit short.
Okay. You're on mute, Reema.
Reema,
you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Any last questions before I close?
I have a quick question about the showers again.
Sure.
So I know you mentioned like not the whole time. So like what's kind of an ideal time frame for when you turn it to cold?
I would say right at the end of your shower, when you're finished doing your entire shower, leave the last minute for just having the cold hit, stay on you for that part. Start with 30 seconds even if you're doing it for the first time, but build up to 1 minute and then come out of your shower. They do say to air dry too, if you really want to be ambitious, but I don't have time for that. 1 minute in the cold shower should be plenty of time.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why this practice is powerful, because everyone on this call is practicing some type of bhakti, is because if you go to the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavad Gita says that we cannot acquire spiritual knowledge without tapasya, right? So cold showers is a tapasya. It's an austerity, right? And so when we embrace austerity and tapasya, then we can now be able, we're training ourselves to be able to receive spiritual knowledge, right? And that's ultimately what's going to bolster us in every aspect of our life. So, but really, this is what showers really do. It's a very tangible and easily done tapasya that you can do at any time. I mean, fasting is another one that if you really want to build up your mental strength, fasting is a really powerful one. We can talk, there's a whole nother class on intermittent fasting, but fasting is a tapasya, cold showers is a tapasya. Sometimes even our meditation practice is a tapasya. Why? Because we have to control our mind, right? So anything we can do to kind of help break our mind or control our mind, that is in fact going to put us in a good place for embracing and receiving, higher wisdom.
So, and then in that sense, what are your thoughts on like sleeping on the ground as a tapasya?
Good.
Is that beneficial at all for students?
I mean, it's going to be good for, there's a lot of research on how it helps with just like, spine alignment, but sleeping on the ground, yeah, it's a very good practice to develop if you can, for sure.
I wouldn't try and do that now when you're trying to study and get comfortable with it, because sleep is really important right now. So yeah, something to get used to and try before you're in study mode. But yeah.
Yeah, these are definitely practices to kind of develop over time in the off season, because when you do sleep on the floor, I used to sleep on the floor in the ashram when I was in India. And sometimes you would like sleep funny and you'd have a really like your neck would be hurting in the morning. It sometimes can be uncomfortable. So it takes like sleeping on the floor takes practice.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, my dad's an intense guy, and yesterday he's like, you need to sleep on the floor, but he never pushes us. So he's like, I'm just gonna practice, like show you by example. And this morning he was just like, the entire time.
So, but anyways, on that note, we'll wrap up. Hopefully, everyone took something out of this session. And yeah, if you guys have any further questions, we're happy to kind of pass on our emails and stay in touch. And yeah, we look forward to engaging with you guys at the next event. But really, thanks so much for coming and being a great audience.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rikin, Patel, and Reema. It was really nice hearing you guys speak. For me, I think cold showers, I think I want to take that more seriously after this talk. So I think I want to start doing that more regularly, and also keeping tabs on my phone and trying to cut down on how often I look at my phone throughout the day, and having a good morning routine. I think that's what I want to work on. That's what I took out of this lecture.
And Madhumita or Samina, anything you wanted to share or reflect?
I just had a question. Like, do you guys like change up your morning routine like often or no? Like, what if you get bored of it?
I would say mine's pretty consistent from the perspective of there's a meditation. It may not always be the same kind of meditation. There is some kind of exercise. So right now I'm doing more yoga, but sometimes I'm doing my HIIT, 10-minute interval type of workout. So I do switch up the types of workouts. I switch up the types of meditation. The breathing, I even switch that up as well. So you can still kind of play with it, but I'm still trying to cover something with my mind, body, soul, right? In what I do. There are different ways, but that's how I would say to address it.
Yeah, I would say, Madhumita, at least try it before you get bored of a routine. Try to at least do it every day for a month, just to establish the routine, right? You can't get bored of something if you haven't been doing it consistently over a period of time. So right now, the first step is just encouraging the consistency. All right, Samina, anything to share or add?
I don't have any questions, but I do like the point made at the beginning to have a limit on your apps that you use, and also to have a dedicated study space, because personally I do eat and use my phone in my study space. So now that I think about it, when I do study, I don't feel that motivated or focused to study just because I use this desk for so many things. But now I think I'm going to stick to just using my study space as a study space.
Great. Awesome.
All right. Well, anyways, on that note, we'll close off.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Abhinav. So